So let's cross now live straight to Tony Badran, research fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy, is joining us now from New York. So, Mr. Badran, if you could first brief us on the case, what exactly do we know?
So this fellow went in to withdraw money. He had $100,000 in an account. As you know, Lebanese accounts are all frozen because the money actually no longer exists. And people can withdraw a finite amount of dollars that are drawing from the reserves of the central bank, and the rest they withdraw in worthless Lebanese currency. And there are multiple exchange rates, which basically allows the central bank to manipulate both the withdrawals and the circulation of cash in the country. And so this person needed it for medical purposes and decided to stick up the bank to take back his money. He was only given, from what reports are, that he was given $35,000 out of that $200,000. Of course, that $35,000, where it comes from is most likely at the expense of others also like him who has their money frozen in the Lebanese banking system.
And as you're illustrating, as shocking as it may sound, it is yet another indication to the abysmal economic state in Lebanon. And perhaps naturally, he's widely seen as a hero. Could we see a beginning of a wave of other people, so many people whose their own money is being held hostage by the country?
I mean, we will see if this sets in motion copycats, but, it's not like the banking system doesn't have a way to fight back, as it were, which is by simply declaring a strike and shutting down all the banks, and then, they've been, the Lebanese population, which is complicit in many ways in its own state of affairs, has been, has spent the last 2 years being conditioned by the ruling class, which is both the financial and the political, they're intermixed, into accepting a new way of life and a new standard of life. And, they play with them basically and manipulate them through the flow of cash and the exchange rate and so on and so forth. And the banks can call a strike and shut down people's access to money, and then people's adaptability changes accordingly.
And, anger is only expected to continue to mount, Mr. Badran. But what is the government doing, or should I ask, what can it do really? What's the game plan here?
Lebanon is a jungle. It's not a real country, and it's not the ruling class isn't an actual government. We use this type of terminology, which is common in the West and actually means something in the West. Lebanon doesn't mean anything. It's just a ruling clique of sectarian families and households, of course, being all run under the supervision and orchestration of Hezbollah, which in many cases also is the principal party in the economy in many cases. I mean, they were, and so none of this really, in terms of, when we talk about judicial system or government or responsiveness to the populace, none of that matters. And most of all, we have to remember that the Lebanese people voted again for this ruling class back in May.
Well, insanity, and as it seems, it will only persist. Mr. Tony Badran, research fellow at the Foundation for Defense of Democracy, thank you very much for your insight. Thank you for that, sir.